IVM.
Hey, if you like fruits and you're also a geek, you should listen to Geek Fruit. It's a show where Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar talk about everything science fiction, adventure and fantasy. Quench your thirst for geek conversations every week. Episodes out every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website or wherever you get your podcasts.
Earth is threatened by an enormously powerful monster who apparently destroyed 70% of the moon, leaving it permanently shaped like a crescent. The monster claims that within a year he will destroy the planet, but he offers mankind a chance to avert this fate.
Welcome to IVM Likes. Oh God. Guys, this is our chance to save the world.
Oh yes.
This show. This is IVM Likes and this is a brand new episode. We have with us Supriya Joshi.
Yay!
Woo-hoo. And the usual suspects. Alika. Alika is actually not very
Way
usual.
to downplay our
I
presence.
do this all the time. Abbas is here with us, as you can
Hi.
tell. And so is Alika.
Oh, hello.
Glad you're here.
Thank
oh
you.
God, it takes a lot of convincing to get Alika on our episode.
I'm an exclusive item, Appa.
Yeah.
Wow. So then I'm lucky then.
Yeah. God, today's lucky day.
No, they just get me when they have nobody else.
That's not true. Okay.
And you? Did you
And
introduce
that's me.
yourself?
I'm Surbhi, guys. They know me. Okay, on today's episode, we're going to be discussing pop culture that we consume in foreign languages.
Yes.
That is other than English and Hindi. So, yeah, that is the second half. In the first half, we'll recommend the stuff that we've been watching. Supriya, let's go start with you.
Okay, so I finished watching this anime on Netflix. It's called Assassination Classroom.
Nice.
It's so good. It's got the most brilliant premise that really hooks you in the first episode itself. So basically what's happened on planet Earth, we're on Earth, one day the moon, suddenly there's a blast on the moon and it's now permanently crescent shaped. And nobody knows what happened here, whatever.
So there's less light.
Well, people really can't tell the difference in the anime, to be honest, but it's just like, okay, something's happened. The moon is crescent shaped now.
Okay.
I'm sure there will be some sort of earthly changes because of that, but the anime doesn't get into that.
Sure.
There's something else that is happening here now. So there's this school in Japan where now how they have their classrooms is graded according to the grades you guys get.
Ooh.
So there's this last, I think it's D or E, that section. It's like the lowest ranking
Right.
students. They are in that class. Nobody cares about them, these students. They are in like the worst part of the school.
Oh no.
And they are all there. And just one day, the principal comes to their classroom and he brings this octopus-like monster into the classroom. And he's like, hey, this is going to be your new homeroom teacher. And you're going
I like this already.
And not only that, he's not only going to teach you, in 1 year you have to kill him. You have to assassinate him.
What?
So basically, he's the guy who made the moon that way.
The octopus.
The octopus.
Okay.
And he's like, if by March next year, if you're able to assassinate me, I'm dead. But if you don't, I will end the earth.
But it's also their teacher.
It's also their teacher. So basically, the octopus is teaching those kids how to kill him.
Oh.
I like
That's the
this.
premise of
My
this show.
I like this.
God.
I have a question.
But
How
watch it.
big is this octopus?
It's
is it
huge.
like Cthulhu-sized huge?
Not Cthulhu, he's like maybe 7 feet tall.
Okay, that's pretty tall.
And he's yellow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. What if I fall in love with it and don't want to kill it anymore?
That's
Happening?
let's not give spoilers. Let's just say tears were shed.
Where is it available?
It's on Netflix.
No way, then I have to watch it.
Please watch it. Please
I will
watch
watch
And
it.
how many episodes is it?
It's I'm thinking 2 seasons. I think
So usually these animes have like a big
a lot.
bunch of episodes.
Yeah, there are about 21 or so per season,
That's not
but
bad.
they're like 20 minutes
Right.
each.
Yeah.
And very easily consumable.
Okay.
And so much fun to watch and also learn, because like, hey man, I hated all my teachers in school. I just wish I had an octopus teacher. I'd be very
Who was
happy.
trying to end
Oh,
the
and
world.
his name is Koro Sensei, by the way.
Oh.
The kids name him that.
Koro-sensei.
Koro Sensei. I think Koro means indestructible, I think.
Oh.
So
This is
yeah.
a great premise.
It's a great show. It's a
Man.
great premise.
Can
yes.
I ask a question?
Yes.
And if the answer is a spoiler, then you can choose not to answer
Yes.
it. Why is the weight of saving the world on the shoulders of the most neglected children?
That is the point of the
Oh, okay.
yeah. See, we are just unraveling the plot as we go.
Alright, we gotta stop. Abbas
Yeah.
has a tendency to reveal all plot points.
No, I don't. I don't know why this has been.
Abbas, stop it. You know this. You know it yourself. Alright. Alika, you go next.
Okay, I'm just going to do a real quick recommendation. So I recently picked up this comic called These Savage Shores. It just released in October of last year. Oh my god, it's last year.
Oh yeah.
20.
Yeah, and it's written by a bunch of Indians, which is really interesting. Yeah, so we've got writer Ram V. We have letterer Aditya Bidikar. We have the art by Sumit Kumar and the colors by Vittorio Astone. And I've read the first issue and it's really interesting. It's a little bit of gothic horror. So the premise is, and I'm not going to tell you a lot because I don't want to give away everything. The premise is, so there's this vampire in London called Alain Pierrefont, and he was discovered by his fellow vampires feeding in public. So it was...
like feeding on people. Alright, the vampire style.
Yeah. So feeding in public, and he's like disgraced and stuff, and they're like, now you've been discovered, we can't have you here.
Yeah.
You're going to put us all in jeopardy. So off you go, and they pack him off to India with the East India Company.
Damn it.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
nice. That's a great premise.
Yeah, so the whole thing is set in 1776 India, or 1766, I
He's
think.
in India?
Yeah, and it's really cool, and you can see that, like, me, I'm a big sucker for the art. So I like how they've done, London, it's all dim blues and blacks and stuff. And then when you come to the India part of the story, it's all like bright yellows, oranges, reds. And it looks really pretty. It's super pretty. And then you go on and you figure out like what this vampire is going to do in India. It's interesting. I don't want to give away the plot.
Okay.
Because
But is it, why do they choose India? Why do they pick India?
Because East India Company.
Hey man, come on. Do
Well,
we need vampires?
Like, listen, where would you exile a vampire to? A dim,
Not
dark
India.
place? I
See,
would.
all I'm saying, it's better than thugs of Hindustan. Okay, so I'd rather vampires than pirates who are not exactly.
I mean, why not? Like, I would like to see a vampire in my life
Sure,
once.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Okay,
Betal
wow.
from Vikram and Betal actually a
No.
vampire?
Was
no,
he? He was a ghoul. I don't know if he was a vampire.
He had some vampirish
Vampirish
qualities.
thing.
He lived in a tree, right?
He lived in
Yeah,
a
so
tree.
he's probably a
and
vampire.
only came out at night. So.
Oh.
Wow.
And he did like get on top of a person
Yeah.
and
Let's not
super
go
close to
there.
the neck
Okay,
area. I mean, like, yeah,
That's
I
his
feel like I
preference.
missed out on something.
that's his preference.
Yeah.
But so 2 issues have been out.
Yeah, 2 issues are out. I believe the third one is going to come out sometime this week or maybe next week. I'm not
because
sure.
if the first one came out in October, then they're taking a good time
Yeah.
before releasing.
But
issues.
it's worth
Yeah.
it. Like, I really enjoyed the first issue and I'm looking forward to picking up the next. So go
if
check
I
it
can
out.
her recommendation. So Ram V, I recommend him as a storyteller. He actually became the first Indian writer to write a mainstream Batman story for DC Comics in 2018. So,
Wow.
so check out. And he wrote this independent graphic novel called Black Mamba back in
Oh,
2016 or
I've heard of
17.
that.
Yeah.
It was a crowdfunded thing. I was one of the people who contributed to it.
Nice.
So.
Damn.
Good job, Abbas.
Good guy, Abbas.
Can I
humble.
third-ication your...
Sure.
So he's also,
This is the first third occasion on IVM Likes.
yeah,
guys.
so he's also got another comic book called Graffiti's Wall, which is set in Mumbai, which is also just released, like late last year. So go check it out. It might be cool. I haven't read it yet, but I have good feelings about it.
Nice.
And the letterer Aditya Bidikar has seen me perform live, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. And he liked my stand-up.
Staying
Well,
humble.
Yeah, very humble. Yeah. That's the end of my pile up.
You're just recommending yourself. Yes. My recommendation is me. Just follow me. But okay, what are you watching?
I am reading actually. I am, after a long while, I'm reading a book which has completely made me fall in love with the book. It's called Circe, spelled Circe, and it's written by Madeline Miller. It's based on this character of Greek mythological character Circe, who was a goddess in the epic poem Odyssey of the Iliad and the Odyssey. And she had a very minor role in the Odyssey, but this book actually retells the whole saga from her perspective. So now the Iliad and the Odyssey are infamous for really giving a raw end of the stick to the female characters. Like, for example, the males, the benchmark of their amazing, abilities is that they have plenty of maidens, they have a lot of things, they are having children with multiple women, blah, blah, blah. And the women, even if they befriend someone who's not their mate or not their husband, they're looked down upon, like, right? So what Cersei does is it retells the entire epic from Cersei's point of view. Madeline Miller doesn't change the events that happen. She keeps them as it is, but she gives the female point of view of why that would have happened, why this character did this, it's their point of view. So it's very powerful. Like it's an interesting exercise in how if you just change the point of view of a story that is well known and so famous in English literature, just by tweaking the point of view and taking it from another perspective, changes the entire outlook of it. I don't know if Madeline Miller, she's been writing this novel for a really long time, but it's really amazing that it's come right when the whole Me Too movement happened. That there are instances where you hear Cersei's monologue and it's really powerful. It's about like, why can't I voice my concern or my voice in this pantheon of gods? Why should only these characters be heard and not me? And the fact that such a powerful character was a minor character in the Odyssey is almost a shame. So there's not one through line throughout the book, like it's instances and she interacts with various characters. So it's like Game of Thrones meets All the Boys I've Loved Before, because it's essentially Cersei.
You really sold it to me now. I wasn't convinced, and suddenly you said to All the Boys I've Loved Before, I was like, I want to watch
because it's also Cersei's relationships with these various gods and figures of Greek mythology that she had. At the same time, also how she interacted with her siblings and the children of the siblings and so on and so forth. So very interesting. It actually made me dig out Greek mythology, read about it, and that's what I love about books, is when they make you read other stuff and other books. I just knocked Alika's mic.
Alika's never going to come back to IVM Likes, thanks to Abbas.
So yeah, please check out Cersei. It was on a bunch of best of 2018 lists, and rightfully so. Not very long. It's around 335 pages, so check it out. I highly recommend.
I feel like I will enjoy this. I am a big fan of Greek mythology.
Yeah, same.
I've been recommending it.
Have you guys seen? There used to be this Disney version of Greek mythologies also.
What's it called?
No.
That's a movie.
Donald Duck, etc. were playing these. I remember this one bit where Scrooge McDuck and I think Donald Duck. I think they were on a ship and they see someone who turns them. Island of Pigs, that thing happens.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
I don't know what it was called, but I know it was a Disney version of. It was probably an episode of DuckTales, actually.
Yeah,
it was probably an episode.
Where they must have somehow reached.
DuckTales was very experimental.
It actually was.
Yeah, it was really fun, actually. I just remembered that. Yeah,
Donald Duck played a Nazi in one of the cartoons.
Yes, most of these.
Do you
cartoons.
know the whole thing about Donald Duck is that he was enrolled into the Navy to go and fight the Nazis?
Yeah.
That's why he left his nephews with Uncle Scrooge.
I did not know this backstory.
Yeah.
Wait, why do you think he wears a sailor outfit?
I thought because he likes catching fish.
No, he enrolled in the Navy. We stand a patriotic duck.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Who used to be Nazi for some.
Yeah, for an episode.
Yeah.
It's weird.
okay. Moving since you guys are not.
What are you recommending,
What is your
Surbhi?
recommendation?
Thank God. Okay, I'm recommending something that I can't reveal too much about.
Okay.
Because that's the beauty of it.
Ooh.
It's a movie in Spanish. It's available on Netflix. It's called Wild Tales.
Okay.
It's the best movie. I'm sorry. That's all, guys. It's not recommendation. No, but okay. So basically, it's a Spanish movie which has 6 standalone stories, which are 20 minutes, 20 to 15 minutes, 25-minute movies, and those are all great. So basically, the whole there's a basic theme to all the different stories. It's the how far will people go to take revenge, and it's insane. Like every movie surpasses the one before, and it just gets so intense. And it's a great watch. It's won a lot of awards, guys. I just don't want to spoil it for you because I went into that movie without watching the trailer or without even reading up about it.
Okay.
Which is the whole
best,
experience out of it.
So how did you stumble upon it?
My friend told me watch Wild Tales. And I was like, what is it about? I was like, no, I can't tell you. It's like, cool.
So now you're just passing
You
it on
have
to
so
everyone.
much trust that you just watch something. If someone says, just watch it. I can't tell you anything about it.
That's
it's
true.
totally confidential. Just go
That would
watch
actually
it.
intrigue me.
That intrigues me. Yeah.
I am
because
extremely suspicious. I need to know
I will
things.
watch any movie as long as it's not a superhero movie. I'll do
Hey,
it.
I recommended Into the Spider-Verse and you loved it.
I mean, that I loved. But like, if it's a DC movie, then I'll probably watch the trailer a couple of
Aquaman is
times before
good.
going in.
No, I don't watch DC movies.
Have you seen?
I don't watch DC movies.
All right, we have a member.
Anti-DC.
Anti-DC movement. But Wild Tales is
But I have a
exceptionally
question.
good.
So
yeah.
you said it's like vignettes. Like, so is each vignette directed by someone?
No,
a
the
new
same
director?
director. Same
Okay.
director's directed all the movies. But
Okay.
like, I don't know if there's a different like a screenplay writer. I think it's written by the same person as well.
Okay.
But the movies, like every story gets intense. And I remember watching so many, like, you know how there's so many Hindi movies that like multi-story.
Yeah.
Those are not as great. Like you'll find like two of them are nice, but the other ones are like shabby.
Yeah.
But like this one, every story keeps it going, and you just
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. It's on Netflix.
All the tales are really wild.
Yeah, it's super wild. It's for revenge. It's called Wild Tales. It's on Netflix. I'm going to do a quick recap. Supriya, what did you recommend?
Assassination Classroom.
Abbas?
Cersei by Madeline Miller.
I recommended a comic book called These Savage Shores by Walt Comics. You can find it on Comixology.
And I recommended the movie Wild Tales on Netflix.
On Netflix, okay.
All right, we'll see you after the break where we are going to talk about... Supriya, you want to say it?
Da, 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 da. I don't know what are you talking about.
Okay, we're going to talk about pop culture in foreign languages other than English and Hindi. And it's going to be damn fun. You best come back.
Ji haan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure that you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So this week on Instagram, we asked everybody to tell us about their New Year's resolutions, and we had some really interesting interactions with our audience based on that. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, do check us out. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma talks to Congress MP Shashi Tharoor about his new book, The Paradoxical Prime Minister. They chat about holding politicians to their promises, the paradoxes of Indian politics at large, and what the 2019 elections might have in store. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by the habit coach Ashton Doctor, who talks about the importance of healthy habits, simple tricks to meditate, and his new podcast, The Habit Coach. Speaking of The Habit Coach, in a 3-part series, Ashton shares his golden secrets to achieving New Year resolutions. On the Pragati podcast, Pawan is joined by Dr. Jay Prakash Narayan. They discuss India's success and failures as a republic and a democracy. On Talle Harate, legal expert Alok Prasanna Kumar discusses the Supreme Court judgment on Aadhaar and its implication on citizens. On Geek Fruit, Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar do a recap of their favorite films from 2018. And on IVM Likes, Janam, Surbhi and Abbas give out some cool pop culture recommendations and discuss the new Netflix horror movie Bird Box, starring Sandra Bullock. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Annyeonghaseyo.
Hola.
Ni hao.
Bonjour. Did I say it right?
Yeah. Please forgive our accents.
Please forgive our accents. But in this round, we're going to be talking about all the pop culture we consume in foreign languages other than English and Hindi. And I just want to casually have a discussion about why don't we do it that often? Why
Sure.
is it why do we always like...
Yeah, why is it a different topic
Yeah.
on IVM Likes?
Yeah. That is true. Okay, I personally, I'm going to start with how I got into foreign. I don't watch a lot of it, but sometimes it's easier because it's on Netflix, so it's easier to get into it. Like the one movie I watched last year that changed my life. I feel like I sell all movies like this.
All
But
the movies you
have
ever
seen-
watched changed your life.
Have you seen the movie Train to Busan?
Oh my god,
Oh
it's
my
my
God.
favorite movie.
It's my favorite movie.
It's my favorite movie.
But also because it was so different and it wasn't like a typical zombie movie.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was so it's a movie I think everyone should watch.
Yeah, I think it'll make you cry, and
Oh,
that's
man,
the,
it'll
that's,
make you cry
it'll
so
make you cry
much.
so
Oh
much.
my God.
And that's
It
not
has
how
an
zombie
animated
movies do.
prequel, by the way. Did you guys know that?
No.
It's called Soul Station. You guys should check it out as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
Are you
awesome.
serious?
Is it also on Netflix? Or
I don't think so.
But that's another question I want to pose to all of you.
Yeah.
Which is that do you think it's easier? It really bumps up the I'm more likely to watch a foreign language show if it's on Netflix or any of the streaming.
For sure, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, because like you said, since I'm on the older side on this panel, I'm in my third decade in this world. I remember a time before Netflix, right, where, like you said, the subtitles and everything, it's all right there. The info, the subtitles, the HD print, everything. Like in a pre-Netflix world, even if you get your hands on something which is not in English or Hindi, you had to wonder if the subtitles are grammatically correct, or if the film is cut in some areas, or if the print is good or whatever, right? So yeah, as compared to that, more than films, I think the amount of television shows like which are on Netflix, like there are Spanish telenovelas which are on Netflix. I recommended a show from Egypt which was essentially an Egyptian remake of Downton Abbey, but with Egyptian characters and Egyptian themes, right? So stuff like that I would have never been aware of if it wasn't right there on a Netflix or an Amazon Prime. So yeah, I mean, streaming services have changed it radically. And I know a lot of people who would not have checked foreign stuff out otherwise, who actually gave it a chance because it's on Netflix and it sits right next to Orange is the New Black or all these cool shows where people are like, okay, this must also be cool. Let me check it out. So yeah.
You know, this reminds me of reminds me of how my mom got into foreign language shows. There's a channel called Zindagi. And they would source like really good shows. Like my mom got super involved in a show. I can't remember what's it called.
I know what show you're talking about, but I also don't know the name. It's not a very weird name.
It was a very weird name, but my mom was super involved. Like, she would do reruns of it, like how we watched The Office again and again. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. Maybe the more easier you make to reach out to the content.
And especially before Netflix, I had very little idea that there were that many foreign language films and things. The only time I got to know was when the Oscars happened or when the Golden Globes happened, when they had like a best foreign language feature, and then you're like, oh, okay, here are some films that may be interesting.
And we knew about that because India used to vie for a spot in that category.
Can we ever pull off a Lagan again?
So then, the year Lagan lost, a film called No Man's Land, which was in French, won. That's how I know that was a French movie which is out there. Yeah.
That's a good point. I feel, I think the award ceremonies do also.
They do boost it a little bit. At least that was how I used to find out about anything before Netflix made things easily searchable. And you never got them in the theaters either. They would very rarely ever come to Indian theaters at all. Like even the ones which won the Academy Awards, because to be fair, they were right. Most people will not go and watch it, whatever the quality of the movie or the show or whatever.
Even the one, Mami was like, when was Mami? It was October last year. So there's so many films in like other languages. I feel like even a film festival also helped in the same way. Like, because that's the time when people get talking about it.
Film festivals are meant to give you a buffet of movies from around the world, and it also exposes you to a lot of different cultures when you see this film. Like, for example, I started watching a lot of Iranian films, and I had no idea about Iranian culture.
Did we talk about Irani chai? Just kidding, and bun maska.
They do talk about chai, but not bun maska. I don't think they have any idea.
Bun maska Iranian?
It is a Bombayized version of Irani cuisine.
We're living in a lie. I always keep thinking bun maska is Iranian.
But I have to ask Supriya, so if anyone follows you on Insta or wherever, you are a huge K-pop fan, right?
Major.
So so obviously non-English language is not an issue for you. So how do you perceive that?
So actually, I think people who very easily get into K-pop or music that is not the language you speak, is if you had some sort of exposure to foreign language stuff in your childhood. This is my theory.
Okay.
Because I remember the first time I saw something like that, something that was not Indian, was my dad is a huge kung fu movie buff. Like, he loves that.
Same.
So your dad also?
Yes. So we've seen every evening till date, there's some weird kung fu movie being played, and there are like some real deep dives there, man.
My dad loves. So we've seen like practically every movie. Like, he used to get the tapes, then the VCD, then the DVD. Yeah. Now they play on Star Movies a lot.
All the time.
Yeah. So like Drunken Master is my favorite movie. Like, guys, look that up.
I will.
It's Jackie Chan is in it, and 36 Chamber of Shaolin. Like, these are the two movies.
I've seen Shaolin Soccer.
Oh yeah. But that's like sort of a parody. But man, 36 Chamber of Shaolin is amazing. But anyway, so we grew up watching that. Then we started watching Animax, my sister and I.
Oh.
So a lot of anime on that. And so basically the first time I ever heard a K-pop song was on this show in Animax, which was strangely a Korean show.
Right.
It was called Pretty Boys and Girls. Okay, it was not an anime. It was a live action show.
Okay.
I don't really even know what that show was about.
Did Animax also have like a post 9 p.m.
Yeah.
real life
Where we show
action?
pretty
it was
boys
like
and girls.
6:37. It used to come. It was not R-rated. It was G-rated. It was a proper. I don't even know.
There was a lot on Animax which was not
Absolutely,
G-rated.
but
True.
this was pretty G-rated. And on that show, I remember there's this some guy who was dancing to some song. Okay, and we heard it for the first time. I was like, wait, this song sounds interesting. It's not English. The show
Right,
is not
right.
English.
Yeah.
What song could this be? So there were 2 English words mattered in that song.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, and then when YouTube came, the first thing was like, hey, do you remember this? Sorry. Let's look that up. Okay, then we looked it up. Sorry, we found it. So it's basically a song by this group called Super Junior. And that song blew our mind. Like we used to like listen to it all the time. And at that point there were no subtitles also.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know what it means, but it's so catchy that we just
catchy.
got into it. And then, yeah, so that's how I got into K-pop. And then last year, a friend of mine, Madhu, her name is, she introduced me to a lot more K-pop.
K-pop.
And now I'm like, once you K-pop, you can't K-stop. So I'm here right now.
So you're a BTS fan for sure,
Huge.
right?
I'm watching them in April this year.
You're going to watch them?
Yes! In Bangkok.
Supriya's
I might
probably
murder you.
she's
No.
the K-pop fan in India. Like I don't think there's a bigger not
No.
K-pop. Sorry,
Yeah.
the BTS
I
fan.
am a huge fan of
in
BTS.
India.
But do you think since you already listen to a lot of K-pop music, it also like made you more like, more into watching foreign language shows like in the same language, like more Korean shows?
because my reason for like why I would like to watch more is because I want to learn more, right? Like the language is so interesting, the food is so interesting.
Tell me more of the language. How is it interesting?
It's so like, I mean, the more you listen to it, the more you start. It's like with every language, right? The more you hear it, the more you start understanding. Oh, this is maybe what this word means, right? And now with BTS songs and other groups as well, they have started putting subtitles, English subtitles in their songs. So now you get it. Okay, this is what this word means. And you hear something enough times, you get it. Okay, this is what this means. And now it's like, now if I want to, the reason why I want to learn Korean is because I want to watch without subtitles.
Oh.
I want to understand actually, because of course so many things will be lost in translation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I want to know what exactly they're saying in Korean, and that's, yeah.
But there's a lot of gossip about like K-pop artists. Do you also follow all the gossip?
I follow everything.
Man, give us some
so
gossip.
much. So basically, recently it seems that
I have no context, but say it.
From what I heard, their lives are like really controlled by the
Yeah,
record
yeah,
companies.
they are.
Did you
So,
also
yeah.
hear the same Radio Lab episode?
Kind of, yeah. I saw the Vox explained version of K-pop.
No,
yeah.
many groups many companies do. Big Hit, who runs BTS, who manages BTS, sorry, they are not very, hunter wala right now. But
They can't love each other, I've
My
heard
intro
that.
to K-pop, the only K-pop group I ever got on was Baby Metal.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's 3 schoolgirls who are playing bone-crunching heavy metal.
Isn't it J-pop though?
Whoa, J-pop.
Is it?
But
I
think it's
My
J-pop.
ignorance is showing.
That's
Okay,
not
cool.
K.
That's okay.
I kind of slotted it under K-pop for some reason.
I have another question.
Yes.
What's the difference between manga and anime?
Manga is the comic where I can't show
Oh,
this
like-
on
The pages, the book.
Yeah, the graphic novel
Oh,
or the
manga
comics.
is read.
Yeah.
Manga is reading.
Anime
And
is
anime
watch.
is the
Yeah.
watch. So I think all anime came from manga.
Mostly,
only.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I don't know, somehow my friend told me, oh, have you heard of this show, YouTube series called Ibichu? Okay, I think I heard about this and it changed my life, like all things do. Ibichu is a hamster, it's a housekeeping hamster.
Oh,
You might have seen it on YouTube. It's so weird and super R-rated
It
because
is.
he wants to get his master laid. Like he's like,
Yeah.
oh, he sex like other people.
Wow.
Like, oh, you should.
Is it on Netflix?
I'm wearing nothing today.
I want an Ibichu. Ibichu is like the world's
Ibichu is
best
damn fun. It's-
wing hamster.
Wing hamster. But manga is so much fun. I don't know how many people are into that though, but it's.
I've read a little bit, not
I have
enough,
read,
because I don't get access to it.
So basically I used to work in this office. I'm not going to name that office. A long time back. This is 2000 and back in the day. And at that point, they had not assigned me any work.
Oh,
okay?
for how many days?
For almost 4 months.
You're kidding me. That's a great job.
That's a great job. No, but so for the first 4 months, I was not doing anything there. So what I used to do is I discovered Full Metal Alchemist. Okay?
That's a great show.
The manga though, not the show yet. So I discovered that manga from somewhere, and I remember I think it's called Manga Fox. I think that was a website. I sat there for 4 months and I went through the entire manga. I finished it and I was like, wow. And a manga is like several volumes.
Yeah.
Okay? Like it's not like one issue or two. It's
They usually come in like 20 volumes.
Oh man, what's a manga
So all
that...
your Death Note, your Buddha series, all of this comes like in big box sets.
Finished it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a manga that's easier to get into? Because if 20 volumes is
they would be
intimidating,
better.
what do I start with?
I would recommend Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, it's got the best story.
It's the best
I feel
story.
like you're kind of ruined on everything else if you've read Full Metal Alchemist because it's just that good.
Really? How long did it take you to finish it? 4
Quite
months?
a lot.
Well, not because it was ongoing at that point. So you might be able to finish it sooner. I took 4 months. It was ongoing.
Oh, like they were writing it still.
Yeah.
Man, that's intense.
But it was so good.
How many of you, have you seen Terrace House?
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
I want to though.
Because I was thinking about, you know how if you're trying like to open yourself to like foreign languages, you still tend to go to like the genre of your liking.
Yeah.
Like if I'm into reality TV, I'll find a reality TV in another language or I'll find a rom-com in a different language because that makes it easier. So, but would you like to, what genre are you more likely to like, go into? Like, what's your favorite genre in foreign languages?
I still love like comedy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or
She just recommended an octopus
Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
about to
Who's a
end the world as a teacher.
Yeah, that seems like comedy.
it's a great choice.
But
What about you, Abbas?
I've just read one manga. I find them hard to read because it's not your typical book. Like it's not left to right. It's a whole
It's right to left.
The visual
missed out
language.
this important part.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The
Mangas
visual
are right to
language
left.
is pretty hard, but I've read this one book which might be a good start-off point. There's this guy called Yukichi Yamamatsu who has written a manga when he came to India. He wrote a book called Stupid Guy Goes to India. It's a manga called Stupid Guy Goes to India.
Nice.
Which is essentially him and his experiences in India, which is pretty fun. So that might be a good jump-off point.
Okay, but I was asking Supriya, what is a genre you're more likely to like look for in a different language? Like if I still like
asking
romance,
me?
yeah.
I have a thing for atmospheric thrillers. Like,
Wow, what's this new genre, guys?
Like
This is
dark
just-
thrillers, suspense,
Like crime thrillers.
And Scandinavian crime fiction is huge in this. Like
Wow.
all Joan Esbo, Stieg Larsson, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and all that. So I read the books which are translated in English, and then I watch their Scandinavian versions of their TV shows and movies because they're way darker than their Hollywood counterparts.
Can you recommend one?
You can check out Dark, the
the
show
film.
on
That.
Netflix.
That's such a one.
Also watch the original version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, not the one that was made by David Fincher. That's also decent, but the original one, I forget the name of the director, but that actual one is way darker and more faithful to the books
Wow.
than the one. So yeah, Scandinavian crime fiction is like a big thing for me while
pretty
checking
cool.
out stuff.
What about you, Alika? What's your favorite?
I just watched fantasy everywhere, you guys.
Oh yeah,
best.
that's
So
true.
yeah, that's why one of my all-time favorite movies is Pan's Labyrinth. Amazing.
seen
Super
it?
depressing, just how I like it.
Pan's Labyrinth was Guillermo del Toro's breakthrough, the guy who made Shape of Water.
Oh,
Yeah, you should watch it. It's very depressing, but it's really good.
wait, Netflix?
It was
It
on
is-
Netflix.
it is on Netflix.
Is it still?
Wow, what a great day. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch all of
Yeah.
this. But Terrace House is also on Netflix. I
Yeah.
feel like it was easy to get into Terrace House also because first of all, Sharanya recommended it so aggressively. I had to. And also because it's also a very reality TV and also rom-com-y. It's super nice. So if you want to get into that part
Right.
of foreign languages, you could try watching Terrace House. And that also has different seasons. So like you never run out of TV things to
Yeah.
watch.
One thing I've noticed is that when you watch foreign language stuff, right, you find that the rest of the world has more in common with us than what we see in Hollywood. Like Hollywood has almost made it very like stuff like things blowing up or casual sex or attractive people in whatever field they are. When you watch foreign cinema, I found that, you know what, people in Germany are also very conservative when it comes to meeting each other, or there are family values which have to be taken into consideration in China, right?
Yeah.
So you find, this is actually similar to
how we
Dwayne Johnson
operate,
turning up and charming everyone, right? Which has its place. But then you find that most ethics and principles and morality in the rest of the world is kind of similar to ours, right? Like India, you can't describe India in one pastiche, so there's so much. So when you see foreign language film, of course those people know more about their own country than you do, right? Like, for example, I saw Roma this year. The beautiful thing about Roma is it's about Spain in the 70s, a version of Spain I'd never seen. So it just opens up your mind to so much more than what you usually see.
So that's very interesting, because we're so used to watching English or pop culture, we only we only relate to those stuff now.
I would highly recommend watching fantasy and horror of other languages, because each country has their own folklore and mythology.
Yeah, I want to watch this movie called Troll Hunter. It's Norse, I think. Norwegian.
What language is this?
Not the show.
No.
Okay.
The Norwegian movie Troll Hunter.
Okay.
I want to watch it because it deals with trolls, and trolls is a very there's a
generic
very
term.
It's a generic term, and there's a very different subset of trolls folklore in the Scandinavian countries. So I really want to see how they
I just looked it up. It sounds damn fun. 3 students embark on a journey to investigate the mysterious killing of bears in Norway.
Dun,
Man,
dun, dun.
I'm into this already.
Yeah.
Also, I think a lot of foreign films show you the resilience of the human spirit. Like if you watch films from places like Palestine or Africa, these people live in really dire conditions, but their stories are still amazing. So
you get so much perspective about life. Because I mean, what you see of foreign countries is what white people are showing you
exactly,
at the end of the day. So now we see it from their locals' perspective also.
God.
I think that's great, yeah.
Well, what do you do if there's an octopus who's also your teacher?
I will study.
I will still study. Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
But just as an aside, how old is this anime that you recommend?
I think it came out in 2016 or 17 odd, yeah.
Because there was the octopus in the World Cup who was choosing.
Oh no, that was Paul, I think his name is.
Yeah. That was a great octopus.
Oh, that was long back.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out.
Did you think that's another K-drama? What was that?
The fortune-telling.
The fortune-telling octopus.
Yeah.
But I guess that's pretty cool, man. Because I know a bunch of TV shows and a bunch of movies that I can easily watch on online streaming services like Netflix and Amazon. So I guess this is a great resolution for this year, 2019.
Absolutely.
Let's watch more stuff.
Yes.
If you could end with one recommendation, the recommendation or fourth dimension for some people, but if you could end with one thing that people should definitely get into.
Can I say 2?
You can say 2, yes.
Yes, you can say 2. Say one from my side.
Okay, I'll recommend another anime. It's on Netflix again. It's called One Punch Man. Please watch it. Season 2 is going to be out soon. It's just one season so far. So watch it. And another is this stand-up comedian's special on Netflix.
Her name is Spanish.
She's Argentinian. Her name is Malena Pichot. And her special's name is Estupidez Completa.
Which means?
I think completely stupid. I think that's what it means.
It does.
And I really, this year, since last year, I've been trying to see more stand-up from people who don't speak English. And maybe from
Does that translate well? Is it the same amount of funny while reading the subtitles?
I enjoy it.
Okay.
Because I really want to know, and also comedians of the world, the new show that has come out on Netflix. So I'm trying to watch more from other countries also. So these are the 2 recommendations I have.
That's great. What about you, Abbas?
I would recommend the films of this Iranian director called Jafar Panahi.
Nice.
Check out as many films of his as you can.
Okay. Jafar who?
Jafar Panahi.
Alright, thanks. Alika has no
I'd
recommendation.
say just watch all the anime on Netflix. Watch Boku no Hero Academia. It's really good. It's super fun. It's very easy to get into. And it's nice. It's a good chill time.
Yeah, watch Terrace House, guys. It's tough to get into it, but once you're down 2 episodes, you're rooting for everybody. And it's a reality show, so there's a lot of drama.
Ooh. Is there though? Which season are you talking about?
I'm talking about opening new doors. I mean, drama as in like not the kind of drama that we used to, but like the drama that you
very
like.
Subdued drama.
Very like, I want to like make something. Yeah, very nice. It's a good show. Very happy. Yeah, thank you so much, Supriya, for being in this episode.
Thank you for having me.
What are you doing? Where can we find you? Where can we reach out to you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am practically doing stand-up every day in January. So you can come watch me in one of my shows.
Where do we follow you on Instagram?
At Suparwoman, SUPAARWOMAN.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Please follow her and please go attend her shows. She's hilarious and she does comedy. What are your regular haunts like, if I just have to bump it to you?
Cuckoo Club, The Habitat, Leaping Windows, Haiku Jam. I'm everywhere.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, Abbas, where can we reach out to you?
You can follow me on Twitter. I am at Abbas Momin and Abbas Momin88 on Instagram.
Alika?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Cape Fox Alex.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at @SmallTalkPolice. This was another episode of IVM Likes. You can reach out to IVM Podcast. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at IVM Podcast. Tell us if you have some recommendations that you would like to recommend to us, and we will give you a shout out.
Whatever language, we'll check it out.
All languages.
We'll shout it out in that language. In terrible accents. We apologize in advance.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. It's IVM here. Let's go. We the IVM kids on the block over here. Just to talk, taking a break from producing all day, coming on this podcast cause we got stuff to say. IVM Daily is the name of the show. Monday to Friday, we ready to go. Talking about stuff in our head. We might even talk about our favorite bread. Signing out, it's IVM here, the podcast network that's in your ear.
Catch IVM Daily Monday to Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
भारतीय सिने इतिहास में महिलाओं की जगह तलाशता हमारा खास हिंदी पॉडकास्ट सिनेमाया। निर्देशिकाओं की फिल्मों, कहानियों और नजरिए को समझने की हमारी एक कोशिश। मैं हूं स्वाति बख्शी और मेरे साथ सुनिए सिनेमाया IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप और IVMpodcast.com पर भी।